All right, welcome to today's blab. This is the Mastering Money Matters blab with Jeanette, LeBlanc, who's already here, and Lisa Sharp, who should be here any minute now. And you know what? I'm really glad that that these two things, which are not well hung, I ended up getting some nails that were already in my wall. But these are some of Jeanette's things, which I'm going to go grab and bring up here in a second. The nice thing about it is I have this huge block to framing and hanging things. You can probably tell by the use of the already existing nails. So the fact that some of your work is canvas wrapped and it framed totally helped me get them on my wall and made them want me to send them friends too. So thanks, Jeanette. I want to thank you for that.
You're welcome. They look so small in there. Now I'm thinking, gosh, I need to make bigger ones.
Oh, you could make bigger ones. Here, let me just grab that thing here and we'll bring them up.
I mean, they're not really small, but they look small all the way over there.
Yeah, they're not small, like when I bring them close. So anyways, Jeanette has a website. Do you want to tell them where your website is, Jeanette?
It is peacelovefree.com.
Peacelovefree.com. Let me type that in here for us. Peacelovefree.com. That is Jeanette's website. And among other things, she has some of these beautiful canvas-wrapped inspirational wall art, which is really nice. These are the two that I have. There are some others as well. But I wanted to bring Jeanette on to talk about these and about the other awesome stuff that she does. So for some reason, Jeanette, I'm not seeing you anymore. I have your
I see me.
You see you. Oh, okay. Maybe it's my poor internet signal then. I switched from when we talked earlier today to the internet service that I was telling you about because, yeah, I've been struggling too. And Stu is uploading music from his computer right now. Oh, there you are. Okay, I see you again. I wonder why Lisa Sharp isn't in here. Oh, well, I guess we can wait a few more minutes for her. But first, tell us about you and your website and what you do.
Well, I am a writer and a writing coach, completely accidental. My backstory didn't guide me toward this at all. I started out as a mommy blogger with a science degree. And over the last 14 years, because I have a 14-year-old now and a 10-year-old daughter, it's evolved into this work that truly feels like a calling in the world. And so I write a lot. I feel like I write to women, but surprisingly enough, some men read as well. A lot about transition and grief and joy and bliss and all of those things. And then I help a lot of people who feel like they're not writers, but they have a story to tell, get their words out into the world. And I see we have our other guest. So,
hey, Lisa.
Hi, guys. Sorry I'm late.
That's okay. We were just starting with Jeanette since you weren't here. Okay. So, do you guys know each other?
No.
Hey, hello.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So I first met Jeanette in B school. Gosh, I don't know. When did you do B school?
2011.
Okay, I did it 2012. So sometime after that, I noticed some of the stuff that you did. And then another thing that Jeanette does is photography. She did the photography that's on my website on jenturrell.com.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah, so all those pictures of me with the black dress. We didn't have time. Actually, it's funny. I use those photos more than any others because I feel like they're in my home and my town and they look the most like me. Even though I've had others taken, other things and makeup artists doing things, but I do feel like they really captured me in a way that the other more made up ones didn't. So I ended up using them for tons of things. It's always like my profile picture right here. I can see that was a Jeanette photo, but she came up and from Phoenix to do it there was a snowstorm. She almost didn't come. We ended up having hardly any time because they had to drive back down before the snow got too bad because she didn't have her car. Being from Phoenix, a lot of cars aren't super snow worthy. So I think we only had maybe an hour or two, and then we picked up my kids in the middle of it. So she got a couple of fantastic shots of me with my kids too.
Oh.
So there's one. Actually, I just made it my cover page. That's actually from last year at Christmas time when she did those photos of me and both my kids. And
picture. Gosh, she does beautiful work. I've always really admired those photos of you.
Well,
and I know what you mean. I think that those are like more representative of you. I mean, they feel really, really, really genuine and like you can just see the happiness, you know?
Yeah, she spent a good amount of time because I was really uncomfortable to start with.
Yeah.
But one of the amazing things is both my kids have autism, and getting pictures with them, especially the two of them and me all in the same photo, is almost impossible. So I really treasure those photos a lot.
Yeah.
I think we lost Jeanette.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Jeanette, if you are around still, try logging back in. Give it another go. So Jeanette and I had a call earlier. I'm doing a Write Your Manifesto project with her, which I wish I could show you the nice workbook, but my printer ran out of ink. So the cover of this is not, see back here, there's yellows and things, but I was running out of the colored ink, so it doesn't look as nice as it would. But she is helping me to write my manifesto right now because we decided there's part of my message I've not been getting out into the world, and Jeanette's writing courses are helping me already. We're working on it.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure, I'll tell you a little more about that. Even though Jeanette's not here.
I want to hear the details.
Pardon me. I still have not fixed this. So what we're doing is, so she's gotten me on a roll a couple times where I'm like talking. Unfortunately, because we had internet problems, we were trying. She usually records her sessions with people because sometimes, you know, when she really gets you talking about that thing that you can just go on and on about, like the language that you need in your writing is there inside of you. But when you go to sit down, you know, with your keyboard or your pen, it just disappears and you lose it. So what Jeanette does that's different from so many other people is she doesn't write your copy for you. She gets you to say the words. And then like this workbook, what I'm going to do, it asks me a lot of specific questions and free writes and different things. And then I send her the back pages and pages of my thoughts and writing. And she said if I have a hard time with the writing, do voice memos, just start talking or, you know, pull from some of my podcasts or things. Because on the podcast, too, there are times where I feel like being free to just speak is easier than the writing. So the way she helps people with their copy is she ends up going through all of that stuff, pulling out the gems, the keywords, the sparks, putting them. And she said usually when she sends it back to people, they're like, oh, this is great. Where did you get it from? You know, and she's like, that's all you. Like you wrote everything about that. But we're not always aware of our best moments and our best language.
True.
You know? Oh no, Jeanette just texted me and said she completely lost internet. Oh no. We were really struggling earlier and we weren't sure if it was mine or hers.
Where is she?
She's in Phoenix, so it's not that far from me. I'm just gonna bring up her website. I typed it in there before and post it. And then we will go to yours since we lost Jeanette. Jeanette, if you can make it back on, go ahead and try. It says, completely lost internet. Okay. Oh, I don't need Jeanette LeBlanc. Okay, here we go. Peace, Love, Free. That is the website. And let me just copy and paste it in here and to make sure anyone who wants to find Jeanette can find Jeanette. That is Jeanette's website. The photography stuff is not advertised on there. If you are in the Arizona, Phoenix area and want to do photography with her, I'm sure that you can contact her individually to do it. But yeah, all of these cool wall art things, I was just showing these off a second ago, these canvas wrapped ones, I particularly like the Circle of Women one. It's one of my favorites. It's really nice. I hang them on my wall. So these and a few others are at Jeanette's website too. Oh, Jeanette's trying to come back on. Here we go. Let's see if we can get
I'm trying.
Here you are.
Yay!
My internet decided to completely cut out, even though it looked like it was on. Everything stopped. And I'm picking up my phone. I'm picking up a hotspot on my phone, so hopefully that'll hold me through.
Okay, cool. So I was just explaining what you and I were doing this morning with the manifesto workbook, and how even though this is not a good printout of it because I ran out of ink, I think this should be yellow, right? And it went. I don't have the front page because I ran out of ink. Wait, like this is the third page because we couldn't even make it to that. I'm gonna go buy some ink soup, but yeah, we were talking about you pulling those gems out of people and using their own words to put together their copy for them.
I love that, Jeanette. Awesome.
I don't buy the whole, but I'm not a writer.
Okay.
So how long does it usually take? We just started. This was our first call on this. How long does it usually take to mold these people's messages into their manifestos?
I think it's different with everyone. We talked a little bit about how I had pulled this product off because I was trying to figure out how to get more people to the completion points. So when it relaunches, it'll have an option to DIY, but also to work one-on-one with me. And in that case, we can turn them around in a week easy as long as people are committed and ready to do all the homework. You already know how many pieces of homework I give you today. So it really depends on how much time someone has to give to it and how motivated they are to get it finished.
Well, the exciting thing about, I have 3 Post-its worth of homework here that Jeanette gave me. Here are my Post-its that I wrote with my homework. The exciting thing is looking at this, I'm like, oh yeah, that's going to be a lot of content. Like this is writing some articles and some posts for me that will be really good.
One of my most recent clients, she was having a big retreat in Northern California and hired me, and we needed to do the manifesto really quickly because she wanted to not only have it finished but printed to give to the people, the 40 people that were coming to her retreat. But in a week, we did the manifesto, and we did an invocation, kind of a welcoming invitation to her people to join her, and then also a call to arms piece. She was able to use Fiverr and have the other piece designed and ready to go out to her people. So when you're motivated, you make it happen. Yeah.
That is a fantastic freaking idea.
Yeah. And I'm the other part of my background is that I'm a content marketer, so I used to think I was a writing coach and I had to keep that offering pure, but I can't keep the content marketer side of me out of it. So as we're working on writing, I'm always thinking of, okay, so, I told Jen, this could be a video, an animated video, and someone else I'm working with, we're going to create a quiz from what she's working on. So I'm always thinking of different ways you can take and mold that into content for your business.
I was wanting to do a quiz. So I had this idea for a financial quiz, which is like what your finances do and don't say about you. But then I had trouble getting all the way through to I felt like I really needed some researched out results that were backed by some kind of statistics or science. You know what I mean? Because I was thinking about all these people who do these quizzes, and then I'm like, when I get the answer, sometimes I'm like, did I make that up, or what does this actually mean? You know what I mean?
Tell me the proof.
Yeah.
That's just your opinion.
And how many different answers are there? And what does this actually mean to me? How is this? What does this tell me about myself that's useful? That's what I would want to get to. Is I got stumped on this could be kind of fun, and I could my point was wanting to show them that even if you have debt or things that make you sometimes feel bad about yourself in terms of your finances, that doesn't actually, your bottom line. Your net worth is not your self-worth. Of course, you want to, because we can always work on that. That can be worked on. So I wanted it to be positive. Net worth is not the self-worth. I think I did make a meme of that one somewhere. It's a good one, isn't it? But see how good she is? She's like, write that down. And we are recording too. So anything any of us say, you could be like,
yeah.
That's another big tip I have for people who say, but I'm not a writer, and they have problem. They get to the screen or the page and they freeze up, is to start recording your client calls or record you talking to that friend who always, every time you're talking to them, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm brilliant. You make me brilliant. Start recording those and then just transcribe what you've already said.
I love it. So, okay, so I realize when my husband and I are cooking together and we're sitting in the kitchen and I'm just ranting about something, that's when there are really good gems in that. And for some reason, it's always between 5:30 and 6:30, and not all the time, but that's usually I'll be like, yeah, that's when I came up with my business name, because we were just talking about it, and I was like, oh yeah, people just really need clear, calm space. That's what people are always asking for. And I was like, oh, that should be my business name. But yeah, you're exactly right. I'm gonna.
You just put the voice memo on your phone on in those times and just record it.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I've had some experiences like that, and I've tried. So I had this idea of doing a podcast for our record label, because we have people who come and record the master bedroom in our house. You came to Jeanette. That back master bedroom, we've transformed it into the recording studio now. And we've switched things around. So each of us has a room of our own completely, which I have never had. Never. Not, I mean, even I did in college, I had a single. You know, like I've almost always had a roommate and then like lived with somebody. So we shared a bedroom, which meant I didn't have my own room. So Lisa has helped me set up my own room. She was part of this project. But anyways, the night, so when we have people staying with us and recording, the funniest stories get told. And so I tried using this. I set this on the table. The problem was as soon as they started telling stories, a few of them were not things they necessarily wanted published. So they were like, oh, turn it off. You know, kept me in this like, and I was like, I need to do it, you know, with some subterfuge. But then I'm like, I also don't want to be recording people without their permission. But like, I can edit all that stuff out. The things that you said about a particular person that you don't want to get around. Like, but you know, when they've had a few beers and they've been recording, it just, all the tour stories would flow and just really funny stuff. I was like, people would love. Here, it's kind of like people were like, "Oh my God, someone just put a camera in their house." That's how I feel about when we have these band people come and hang out, and it's like, gotta capture some of it somehow.
So if you have people in your life,
without scaring
either
everybody
a client
off.
or you're especially
Lisa, did we lose you?
They resonate.
No, I'm here.
Okay.
She's just very still and clear and calm.
Okay, you're clear and calm. Okay, cool. So anyways, great
I
idea.
apologize. Can you guys hear the really loud landscapers outside?
No.
They have brilliant timing.
Yeah. That happens to me all the time. But no, we can't hear it. At least I can.
So yeah, find those people who bring out your brilliance and then start recording it. Don't think that writing is just you sitting alone with a paper in front of you and having to be Hemingway overnight. I find especially with people, I mean, once Jen got passionate about something today, she just took off. Because half of her homework was finished. Unfortunately, we weren't recording that session because we had technical difficulties. But that can really help you get over that hump of I don't know how to write, or I don't know what to write, or I'm not a writer like you.
Yeah, it's so true.
And
yeah, like I'll have like, you know, a flood of ideas for blog posts or videos or whatever. And then when it's time to actually go create it, I'm like, I don't want to do any of this, or it's not, I don't feel inspired, or it feels forced or whatever. Like there's like that disconnect that's so aggravating where it's like, you know, do I just sit here and keep working through it, or do I just walk away and get some space again? You know what I mean?
I think you should record more videos, Lisa. I love your videos.
Yeah.
Especially when you bust out the ukulele. That's awesome. Do you have the ukulele? Is the ukulele nearby?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Well, maybe by the end we can convince you to do a ukulele performance for us. I loved your tax song. Remember when you were doing the tax song?
Yes. Yes, I should probably write another one here. Now that I'm actually trying to not be totally behind the eight ball like I was last year. This spring.
So was that last April? Was that? Oh, wow. So for real tax time. We've been hanging out a long time, haven't we, Lisa? Yeah. So Lisa's, I love this, that her reaction to getting stressed at tax time and doing all this stuff was to stop and write a song on the ukulele and record it for us and put it in a group.
Yeah. What else?
Huh?
Yeah, I was so stressed out. I was so freaking out, and I was really kicking myself. I was like, oh my God, why have I done this to myself? And then, you know, it was just a stress reliever. So I'll do that. I only can play like 4 chords on the ukulele. I'm like not some amazing
That's all you need at a ukulele.
Yeah. But so I grabbed my ukulele and I was just walking around the house singing. And I do that anyway. And then I was like, oh, I'll just be a complete idiot and record that. And I did. And I published it so like real actual people could see it.
See, that's what you need to do when you have writer's block. Just get out the ukulele. Sing it.
No, I'm going to do that. Thanks.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, because it's looser. It's just like, oh, you know, whatever. It doesn't really matter.
And there's some good conversation about tax time, too, you know, which I like.
I think people think about writing, and then the bigger sense when you have an online business and you're in this world of content, which is this big scary word, content. It doesn't have to be just words. Like there's a million different ways to create content in a way that's authentic and real to you. And I'm kind of over the word content right now. I've said it so many times. But the stuff you put out there that calls your people to you. I mean, your content is your siren song.
Yes.
That's the people, that's the stuff that you get to put out in the world, whether it's videos or quizzes or blog posts or ukulele compositions, that let people know they're in the right place and that they want to come to you for more. So it doesn't have to be all icky feeling.
Well, and part of what I loved about talking to you about all this, Jeanette, is I know a number of people who have hired pretty high-priced copywriters, had them do the copy for their website or their sales page, but then later were just either it didn't sound like them, it was words they would never say themselves, and because of that, it was probably not working with their community as well as their own words would. And I mean, I'm feeling that way myself right now with the copy that I have on my website, which is good copy. It was written by someone that was paid to write it and did interview me, and we talked about it a lot. But it just ended up with a tone that didn't sound like me. So get my manifesto figured out.
I just lost that whole last part to the
do we lose
technology abyss.
Jeanette? Just me big upping you, saying how awesome it is. It was me talking about, how important that is. So I think we're in a phase right now where a lot of people feel like they have to hire high-end copywriters in order to get copy that will get them sales. But then if that copy doesn't sound like them and doesn't resonate, the people who come to them because of that copy are going to be like, oh, wait, this isn't quite the person I thought I was getting. Or, or
they sign up for your list expecting something. And then when you deliver the rest of your content, it's something different. So I think that it's equally, there's part of it that's just, we talked about this earlier, just actually believing you can do it. The reason Jen and I are talking isn't just your content. We're talking because I have a completely disempowered relationship with money. So a lot of people feel about writing the way I feel about money, like, oh, no. All those stories about money that people have about writing. So part of it is just me showing people that they actually have words inside of them and we can channel them. And then part of it, there's just techniques and crafts and exercises that we can do to help get those words out into the world in a way that resonates with people. So it's kind of half and half.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
But I don't buy the "but I'm not a writer." That's what it all comes down to.
And I don't buy that, but I'm not a money person or a numbers person either.
Because we need each other.
Yeah, it's just a tool. It's like the food for your life system. Like your body needs this input and output and everything, and so does your money system. It keeps things going. It pays your bills. It does all the stuff. So, yeah, it's all reframing and telling the new stories. Yes. Reframing our money stories. Right. Yeah.
I need better.
So, Lisa.
My money story needs better copy.
Yeah, let's do the money story.
Like that. Yeah, I want to hear about Lisa. What do you do? Because ClearCom Space, my God, I need that.
We all do. That's why I cultivate it for myself and for other people. Yeah. So I'm a professional organizer and space healer, so I help people with their stuff. We all get so tripped up on our belongings and the way that we live our daily lives. And so my goal in my business is to increase people's daily happiness by how they relate to their surroundings.
We need a little of that over here.
Yeah.
A lot of
everybody. You know what? Actually, Lisa, I thought of you, I think it was yesterday morning. I got a Ramit Sethi newsletter in my inbox. And it was, you shouldn't be annoyed, but I am, or something. And he went through and he decided to document every little annoyance he experienced in his life. And there were things like, he lives in I don't know if he's in New York or San Francisco now, but anyways, obviously a small space apartment, even though I'm sure it costs tons of money. And one of them was like the garbage can in his kitchen. Every time he tries to use it, he has to kind of pull it out a bit because it's such a short cabinet and put things in and then and close the door. So instead of just a very nice, smooth, and so he went through 65 things throughout the day in his home that bugged him. and was like, so none of these are big things on their own, but when you add up 65 things that happen every day, you have a really bad day and you're like angry and annoyed. So was having someone come in and put tracks on his trash can, so it rolls out and back in. I was like,
yeah, totally. I'm constantly preaching that. It's like, because it's cumulative, right? And like our lives are our days. So if you're having a crap day because everything is broken, you have too much crap, your bills are late because you can't find things, you can never find the leash to go walk your dog, and your shoes don't fit, whatever. It's like there are all these little niddly piddly things all day long. And if you don't stop and like course correct on these little micro decisions, then your whole trajectory can be going off in one weird direction. Oh, excuse me, my alarm's going off. And like next thing you know, it's like 2 years later, and you're like, why have I been putting up with this bullshit? Why have I been, it's like all these little things. And we do this in relationships. We do this in our mindset. We do it with our physical stuff. We do it with the energy in our home. So it's like just shining a light on that and getting really, practicing discernment. We talk a lot about that, really like thinking it through and course correcting when a decision doesn't feel right for you. So, we buy things and we go like, but I spent a lot of money on that, or it was heavy and it was hard to get into my house, or I need to hire somebody to come fix it or whatever. And if you have enough of those things, energetically, it's like you're just sort of like collecting all this extra stuff, and you can't move freely through life because there's all this little stuff. And it's so simple to course correct it if we just put our attention on it. And, and sometimes people get really overwhelmed with like the backlog of their stuff. So, it's not only just, it's the same thing like with finances. It's like you have to kind of put a line in the sand and say, well, moving forward, this is the way that we're going to do it. And you just start moving forward with whatever system that is, or whatever decision that you've made in your life. But then you still have the backlog that you have to deal with and you have to catch up with. And most people get stuck there, and they're just like, how can I deal with this and do this at the same time? And the fact is it just takes time to do that. There's no way around that. But once you start sort of making those decisions, those little micro decisions, and you get really, really good at, no, I don't like this. Yes, I do like this. This is who I used to be, but I don't really want to be that person anymore. This is the sort of relationship that I've been attracting, and I'm ready to move into something different. Then like the better you get at that, the stronger those muscles become, the more beautiful life becomes, because then all of a sudden you are cultivating and manifesting all these like fabulous things because that's where your attention is. But you do have to deal with that. This is where I deal with people. The people that are like, oh my God, I don't even know where to begin. There's just too much of this, whatever, and it's all the stories. It's the stories we tell ourselves about writing. It's the stories we tell ourselves about money. It's the stories we tell ourselves about our stuff. And those things are very correlated with money, right? Because most of the stuff that we brought into our lives have been manifested because we had money to pay for them, or we didn't, or we made a decision. So it's like, it's never just a cup. It's like, it's never just a couch. It's like, if you really think about it, there are all these attachments that we have to our belongings that we deal with day in and day out, but we don't really stop to go like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to change. I want to reframe that. So that's what I do. I really get into the emotion stuff. Yeah.
Can I tell you a funny sofa story or couch story, or settee as it's called in England, because this is an English family story. So my husband's English, and we were at his parents' house, and they were moving, and there was this discussion about the red leather sofa, right? And at one point his mom said that Ruth should have it, his sister Ruth, his little sister. And so they were talking about it, and then someone at some point was like, well, why should Ruth have it? She goes, oh, she was conceived on that sofa. I was like, wow, what a reason to keep the sofa.
Now we all know this.
And Ruth is my age, so, Yeah, it was pretty funny. I think Ruth did not end up wanting the sofa.
Was that a little weird? Right. So was that a little weird for her? Like,
yeah, I thought it was a little weird. I was like, I guess there's sentimental value to that, but do I want to sit in it? I don't know. Sorry.
No black lights on the couch. Yeah. is. Yeah. I love hearing the stories about people and their stuff because they're they're rich and diverse, just as are people. So yeah, that's really funny.
Yeah. And my youngest loves this Barbie show. Have you seen Barbie in the Dreamhouse show, where she has the infinite closet?
No, but
so there comes a point where the closet like actually gets full. Barbie has to declutter because her closet, which they thought was infinite, has reached the fullness, and they start going through every little thing, and each thing they pick up, it's like, oh no, don't you remember that I was wearing that the time that, and then she tells like the 56th time we had an all-night phone call, Ken, you know, and like the time we made that fashion-forward snowman. So it was like every single thing in her closet Barbie could not get rid of. I you would love it.
That's my job. Yeah, exactly. Like going through that with people, especially when I work with people in person in Atlanta, because I'm in their space, right? And there's no hiding from it. It's like that's how we all choose to live in these certain ways, and we get like in this really, really small, like emotional space. Like this is my little comfort zone. And to have somebody come in there and go like, what's that? And you know, people go like, hey. So I hear all kinds of interesting stories. And yeah, it's never just, it's something I picked up at Target, end of story. It just never is. It's kind of hilarious. It's very interesting.
Well, we do attach so much psychically and, you know, mentally to different things. Kind of around my office as we say this, like this.
Yeah.
I used to have black hair when we were on tour, and a fan made these dolls and brought them to us, and I found them out at our ranch house, and I was like, thank God I thought to put them in a box frame because they're felt faces. It's just a felt pen, and they were getting, isn't that cute? So anyway, these are the kinds of clutter things. I was like, what do I have that's cluttery and sentimental? But I'm not getting rid of my dolls because they were handmade.
And that's just it. I mean, that's what we do. It's like the process of discernment, like, you know, why would you get rid of something that you love? Don't. But the fact is the people will say like, oh, I love all my stuff, or I hate all of my stuff. You know, and they just sort of use these like, oh, I just want to, you know, burn my house down because I'm so sick of dealing with it. It's like, well, okay, but let's start looking at this. And the fact is like once you start really shining a light on it, then people are like, oh, well, actually, this reminds me of my relationship with my mother, which is really tempestuous. You know, I don't really know how I feel about her and where, you know, who I am as an adult, you know, because of the way that I was raised or whatever. And, you know, but yet they might have like all of their mother's furniture from when they were growing up and the dishes that they eat off of every single day that remind them of a good thing, a bad thing, a neutral thing, but there's a connection to it. And, you know, and just practicing like, okay, but do you want that? Does it make you happy? Keep it if it lights you up and it feels aligned with who you are and where you're going, but don't keep it just because it was sentimental at one point in your life, or, you know, you're supposed to keep it or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I remember telling you I wanted to turn my house upside down and shake it out when we first started. So I've done a couple things with Lisa. The first one was our overall house. When we started, we'd moved our sleeping situations a few times without switching closets. So like my husband's clothes were in the kids' closet. My clothes were downstairs and I was sleeping upstairs. Yeah, it was a mess. It was very interesting. And it wasn't that I didn't know those things needed to change. I kind of needed the boundaries, like, okay, today we are doing this thing. And I had some help. I had someone come and help me move all of these things so that I could just get it done in a day, and it would stop annoying me every single day, having to walk all across the house to get everyone's clothes together, you know.
And to have an expert, like having someone who specializes in copy and who can tease those things out of you, or finances. Like so much of this we know how to do ourselves, but because there is so much emotional baggage for whatever reason, and we just need somebody there to be with us and to champion us and to guide us through this terrain until we get our own sort of like inner guidance from it. You know, it's like that just takes practice. So, you know, sometimes people will say to me like, are you bored? Because, you know, especially if we're doing stuff that's like really tedious, like lots and lots of piles of paper or something, it's like, no, this is because it's just practice. It's just practice. It's practice. The more you do it, the better you'll get it. The more you'll understand how the process works and how it's right for you. You know, so it's just like this transference of skills, but also really about the support. I do a lot of coaching.
You know, it must be so interesting to see inside of people's homes too. Because when we used to tour, we were, we were a total little tiny indie band, and we would go home with people. People would take us home, and we all had our sleeping bags, and we would sleep on people's floors. And especially when we went to Japan, that was one of the most fascinating things ever. Was not many people in Japan will take a stranger into their home. So we kind of arranged ahead of time with other people in bands and a few people's parents, because a lot of people live with their parents. And it was amazing to me. I didn't have my own home at that time. I'd only had a shared house with like grungy kids. But to see inside other people's houses and like what they kept and where it was and how they set it up, and not being able to find the bathroom in someone's house, things like that, just being like, wow, everyone lives so differently. It's kind of
and it's interesting too, because although we are so different and everyone has their own sort of style and inclinations and predilections, that we still we can still sort of categorize things in the same sort of way. So like I can go into your house, or I can go to Jeanette's house and sort of like, okay, this is your personal stuff, this is your business stuff, this is your, accounting stuff, it's like, it really is like pretty similar. But the way that we interact with our stuff and what we collect and why we collect it and our shopping habits and the habits from our families and that sort of stuff is very different, and it's fascinating. That was one of my favorite things about teaching the class that I just taught. We did it's called House Proud for the Holidays, where we went in and got people's like really specific areas of their houses prepared for the holiday season so that they would feel comfortable having guests come to their house or just enjoy their houses in general. So part of the reason I wanted to do that class was because I wanted other people to see one another's homes. So part of what we did was we took pictures and uploaded them into a Facebook group so people could see the progress. And it's so empowering for people to reveal themselves on that level, because everybody thinks, oh, it's just me. I'm like, people, once a week somebody says to me, oh, I could never let you in my house. It's like hoarders. And I'm like, yeah, it's not. It's really not. But we tell ourselves these stories, and to sort of, show each other really is super, super empowering. Again, it's like just sort of like letting down some of those guards that we have. And that was the number one thing that I heard from people was, oh, it was so great to see how other people live. It's not just me. I'm not alone. I'm not crazy. My husband's not crazy. Our kids, everybody has this stuff. Everybody does. It's just all slight variations on a theme.
We could just walk down the hall to my daughter's room to showcase.
Oh, yeah. Or my son's room or my daughter's room. My son's room is...
My two girls share a room, and yeah, I have one who's a tornado. So, and what interesting is I'm listening to you talk about this. 2 years ago, at the end of a relationship, I moved from 3,000 square feet into 800 square feet. And that was a powerful lesson in stuff. Powerful. But yet 2 years later, I can feel, and there's really small rooms. Like I'm looking around me, I can see all of my place can fit into some of my friends' kitchens.
Yeah.
And still the amount of stuff that comes back in, even after you've done a massive clear out, because I did a massive clear out. And then realizing the things that I still held on. One of the things that came up while you guys were talking is one of my oldest money stories, and remembering growing up in a family without much money, is being in the bathroom in like some painfully awkward adolescent year and having someone tease me because I'd been wearing the same pants. Because at that time I had 2 pairs of pants, and that's what we had. And I knew we didn't have more money. And at some point a few years ago, I remember looking at my closet and seeing, I had massive amounts of clothes. I always have massive amounts of clothes. And that I had been living ever since then, trying to collect enough pairs of pants that no one would ever say that to me again. So I did this massive clear out when I moved in here. But do you know that 2 years later, those tubs are actually still at someone's house waiting, because I thought, well, I can't just get rid of them. There's so much money there. I've got to go through them, and I've got to take them to Buffalo, and I've got to get something for this. So even in my letting go, I've still somehow managed to hold on, because I know that that's still out there and I still have to deal with it. Like that's part of that backlog thing that you were talking about completely. So I've still got, 20 pairs of pants that I can't quite get rid of. I almost got rid of them.
Right. And you think like, oh,
space.
Yeah. They're not.
They're not taking space in my closet anymore, but they're still taking space in my brain, because they're still something I have to deal with because I haven't gotten rid of them.
Exactly. Exactly. So there's all, and that is a perfect illustration of our energetic tie to things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not just about the pants that you picked up at Nordstrom's or, you know, wherever.
Right.
It doesn't make a difference if they're from Goodwill or the highest end shop. It doesn't matter. What matters is the story that we're telling us. And then when we collect these things, we imbue ourselves with them. We are like, we create this connection with them. And so even if they're not in our like close proximity, we still feel that. Yeah. And it might just be like this little niggly whatever, but it's still that connection. So yeah, like this is one of my favorite things is like, if I work with like for instance, in this class that I taught, you know, part is like, we're really good at the purging part, but really a lot of times what people do is they just rearrange their stuff. So they'll like rearrange it so that it's no longer in their living room, but that it's in their back room or it's in a closet. It's like, okay, you haven't really done anything. You just moved it around, which is, you can make it look nice temporarily. You still haven't broken any of those ties. So, you know, people will move their stuff like to their car and then drive around with it in their trunk for 3 months.
Forever, yes. Absolutely.
Like,
thinking I'll drop it off at Goodwill someday. Well, and you know, Lisa, when we had our podcast interview recently, which Lisa was just on my podcast, if anyone wants to check it out, that's Financial Fluency, Speaking the Language of Money. But I remember I was trying to talk to you, we were talking about money and clutter and stuff, and I was trying to say, well, another great way to get some, you know, to deal with your clutter is to sell it. And Lisa, you were so great with the way you brought up that maybe it's a great way to sell it. Maybe it's better just to cut the ties and let it go. Because if you're going to, like, is it worth all the hours it takes to photograph it, write descriptions, put it online, wait for the auction, package it up, drive it to the post office? Like, you know, what is your time worth per hour?
Is that just an excuse not to actually do? For me, it is.
Right.
Yeah. And I think there are times where it definitely can be. And there are some things that I do sell. Like I buy my kids this one really particular brand of clothing that has no fasteners because Tallulah is really sensitive. So tea collection, it's all cotton. It has no tags. You know, the tags are printed and stuff. Really nice stuff and has a bizarrely high resale value. Sometimes I've gotten them on sale and have sold them back for as much used. So I've ended up telling myself this story that like, oh, wow, half the time, you know, both kids end up wearing one of these things and then I sell it back anyways. But not always, and often it does take a fair amount of my time to go and photograph and do it. And I feel like, oh, well, someone else is getting this use of it and I'm recycling and I'm doing these good things. But once you were talking about actually adding up all of the time, I was like, that is true because time is not infinite. We value our money, but our time is in some ways more valuable because it is possible to always find more ways to earn more money. But especially when you get to the end of your life, you can add more time on the end.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go get a charger.
Okay. But Lisa, so something I wanted to talk to you about when you brought up the stacks of paper, which made me think of this right here. Lisa knows my recent adventure/misadventure with trying to buy an income property with self-employed income and it not quite working out. But I was just collecting up all of the different, you know, this is the assessment that we had done, all of the loan documents. So this is all on something that did not happen. I'm going to keep some of it because it, you know, if we do buy something in the next 6 months or a year, this might be helpful. But to be honest, like, because your financial situation changes so rapidly and they always want current documents, I'm like, I'm not even sure any of that is useful. So it's in my, I think I will probably shred most of the pile right now, but I need to sort through it. But I wanted to talk to you about this new paperwork boot camp that you are doing in the new year because I'm going to join it. When you talked about going through all your paperwork in the course of a movie, I was like, oh, I think I'm relatively organized with my paperwork. But there is no way, like I do a purge and shred day when I'm done with my taxes, you know, once I close out the end of the year. Probably because I keep so much all year long, which I should probably, you know, discern a bit more. So I'm excited for your boot camp. Tell us about it.
Yeah. And Jen, honestly, like, okay, so Jeanette, what Jen is referring to is during the interview, I was talking about how I have a paperwork system that's both for my home and then I basically duplicate the same thing for my business. And at the end of the year, it's sort of a self-purging system. That sounds kind of gross. But okay, wordsmiths, help me. Anyway, but I was telling Jen that at the end of every year, I kind of have this little ritual that I've created. It was not intentional, but it's turned into this nice little practice where at the end of the year, between Christmas and New Year's, I go through all of my paperwork. And I'm a big Lord of the Rings nerd, and so we own all of the movies, and so I have turned this into this sort of nice thing, and the whole family gathers around, and we all watch Lord of the Rings. And while they're watching the movies, I'm sitting at the table, and I go through all of my paperwork, and I can get it done usually in one of the movies, sometimes two of the movies, depending on how quickly I'm moving, how much paperwork I have, and how motivated I am. But in your circumstance, Jen, you have a far more complex paper life than I do. Right? So I don't think it's not really apples to apples here because you are running multiple businesses. You have a medical heavy paperwork scenario, right? So like mine used to be.
Their school files with the IEPs end up being like this, you know. And the truth is, I really only need to keep the most recent one usually. I am letting a total stranger into our circle just because I'm so curious who asked to join. But we'll see if they come on. So yeah, you're right. Like I can get rid of the previous IEPs and just keep that current
and I'll
one.
tell you,
Which that's
my daughter has IEP also, and so I know that paperwork well. And I really haven't purged any of it. I just have a big box, and I literally just put like the most current stuff on top. That's my filing system, and it's in one box, and it's contained, and I don't have to look at it, and it lives in the closet. So, but you know, energetically speaking, hoping to get to the point where I can do a big shred of that and release some of that. And I'm really looking forward to releasing that stage, you know, that area of our lives. That'll be fun to be able to let some of that go. So yeah, but the paperwork boot camp I'm going to be doing in January is basically going to be, my daughter's going to be home in about 2 minutes, so I'm going to have to go. But I just saw her bus pull up. The class is just all basically how to create a really, really super flexible, very user-friendly, very, very, very simple paperwork system that will carry you forward. It's just, I don't do complex. I'm also a librarian. I know lots of different systems and how you can create things and stuff. And just like, no, I'm not doing it because I know most people won't follow it. And my goal is to help them with the moving forward and then give them the tools to figure out how to deal with that backlog when it comes to paperwork.
Brilliant.
Awesome. And then when we all get to April this year, I hope we do still get a tax ukulele song, but it's going to be like, my taxes were agreed. I was so organized, right?
So anyway, I'm sorry to have to go so quickly, but it was great talking with both of you. It was really nice to meet you.
Yeah, it was great to meet you.
You too. And actually, I think an hour-long blab or almost to an hour, I think that's probably long enough. What do you guys think? Ready to call it a day? Thank you so much for joining me. Oh, hey, before you go, Lisa, could you type your website into the chat? Jeanette, I typed yours earlier, which is peace. Wait. You want to type it in too? Okay. And I'll type mine in, which is jenturrell.com. And these are where everyone can find us. If anyone watching either live or the replay wants to find any of us. Yeah, so we've got Jeanette. We have the awesome wall art that she did, which I showed you guys a few pieces of. You want to send these to your clients or best friends. The Circle of Women one's one of my favorite. Lisa's got her paperwork boot camp coming up in January, and she is Claire Calm Space. She has helped me in my own home and my office both to create much nicer spaces to live in. So thank you guys both so much for being here. All right, see you later.